Hello everybody, this is Marla Martinson and you are watching another episode of Conversations with Cupid. You might be wondering, why is Marla wearing a witch's hat? Because we're going to be talking about something really spooky but really fun today. My guest is Karen Dahlman, and she is the author of this amazing book called The Spirits of Ouija, or Ouija as some people say. Welcome, Karen!
Hi, Marla. Thank you for having me today. This is fun. I wished I had my witch's hat on, but I don't.
I love my witch's hat. Well, I don't know if I should wear it for the whole interview. Maybe I'll take it off now so you can see.
But it's great. It was a great way to start, for sure.
Great way to start, right? Okay, well, Karen, just to tell you a little bit about her, she believes that self-empowerment is the key to living a richly rewarding and authentic life. All of her education, life, and career experiences and the companies she developed and owned center around the theme of living a bountiful life through creatively pushing boundaries and expressing inner potentials. She began her professional career as an art psychotherapist, licensed counselor, hypnotherapist, and artist. And I've seen some of your artwork. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So I want to know, everybody wants to know, how did you start in with the Ouija board? Because I have to, first of all, I have to say, you guys, I'm more excited about this video than, you probably are. And I'll tell you why after, Karen tells us a little bit about herself.
Well, Marla, I started using the board when I was 8 years old. And I'm starting to find out a lot of people, had the board when they were younger too and tried it at sleepovers. And, it was more for fun and games than a novelty item. And it was for me when it first started. My two girlfriends down the street introduced me to it, and I really didn't know much about it. But when we used it, it worked amazingly. And we started talking to one of their dead sisters, and I didn't even know they had a dead sister. And that theme reoccurred for me, and it kind of was my turning point to start the Ouija. And then again in college, I met another girl who had a dead sister I knew nothing about, but talked to her dead sister on the board. And it was really a changing moment, too. So it started with that. And then I asked for a board for Christmas from Santa. My parents, they kind of went, wink, wink, oh, sure, it works. And I said, well, don't worry about that. I'll get one from Santa. And Santa, sure enough, delivered. It was December 25th, Christmas Day, 1973. And I've been using the board ever since.
Oh, my gosh. And you used it with people.
Oh, yeah.
Start, of course.
Yes, I did. I used it with, I had a brother of mine that does it really well. I have several brothers, but one brother did it really well. And then friends throughout the years. And when I was younger, it was more like fun. And we, I didn't know to even do anything like protection or prayer or intention. Oh, yet I knew it was serious. So I didn't make it into a joke. I always was serious around it. And I was never afraid of it. And I think that's really added and contributed to my success with the board over the years. Because there was no sense of fear. And I truly believe what we bring to the table within ourselves is what we're going to get that retracts back to us, no matter if that's life or it's with the board. So yeah, I've had really astounding positive experiences.
And for how many years? 30, 40 years?
It's been 40
years?
2 plus years. We're 42nd year we're in right now, so that kind of gave you my age.
Well, you know what, we're about the same age, and I have to, I'm a little bit older. So you guys, I got to tell you, I first saw Karen on George Noory's show on Gaiam on Beyond Belief. And I've been a guest on that show as well as Coast to Coast AM, and Karen has. And when I saw her talking about the board, and it was so funny because George was like a little nervous, and I don't know, no matter what you say, I'm not going to get on there. But I felt like, oh, it's like if you have some, obscure handicap and nobody else has it, and then you find somebody with the same handicap, and you're like, yeah, oh. And so I looked up Karen and connected with her and friended her on Facebook. We started talking, we Skyped because I use the board too, and I have just started, how long ago? Maybe a year and a half ago. And I started it with my friend Julie. We did it together. But we never called it the Ouija board because my boards, for instance, I have a beautiful angel board. It's got the angel on it. I have 4 boards. And then my favorite board is this small one. And I like it because the letters are together. Now, speaking of doing it with another person, that was fine. But then I thought, I want to talk to my angel came through. So I talked to my angels on here as well as other people. But they were giving me some private information, and I want to get information on my life. So I thought I want to do it by myself. And it took a lot of spiritual development, getting attuned with Reiki, different energy attunements. Finally, I opened up enough where I could use it on my own, but I couldn't. So, talk about that, the energy that it takes for these spirits, angels, entities to come through, because it's not just like it takes them a lot of their energy to come through, right?
It absolutely does. You hit on a good point there. And people ask me all the time, should I do it alone? Can I do it alone? In the beginning, because you understand the energies are so subtle when you feel them on the planchette, it's like you don't know if you're pushing it or if you're making this up. It's really hard. And also a lot of people that want to mess with the board aren't that spiritually developed, although they're working on it. And I know you've done a lot of spiritual work over the years, and you've been doing a lot of psychic development courses that it's different. So I always tell people, start out with a friend, as you did as well. And then if you are, you know your center, what I mean by that is you're not afraid of the board. You're not afraid of who you are. You're not afraid to put the board away. You know that you're positive, and whatever you get or put into the board, you're going to get positive back. And that's knowing your center. So when you have those spiritual practices in place that help you do that, it helps you raise your vibration. And so talking about the energy, how hard it is for them, they tell me all the time, it's so much easier just to give me downloads information and packets, like directly into my head when I'm sleeping or when I'm journaling. It's a lot harder for them to spell. So we have to raise our vibration, and it's a real energetic thing about us. We have to raise it. And we raise it through our spiritual practices. We raise it through our intent. We raise it through how we endeavor ourselves in life. We raise it through how we're feeling physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. And all these things contribute. There's so many pieces here that contribute to a good session to raising your energy. And once your energy raises up, they take theirs and they allow theirs to match ours. Mm-hmm. I hate to say lower and higher in a way, because it's not like they're better and we're worse. It's just that we have different vibration signatures.
Right. And we're here on the third dimension. It's very dense. It took me a good 8 months to be able to do it on my own. I'd sit there at night, every night for like 5 or 10 minutes, just trying it, waiting. And nothing was happening. But as I was getting these attunements and as I was meditating, working on myself, one night, yes, bam, it started moving. And a good way to know if you're moving it or not, it wasn't me, because my friend Julie was on, she wasn't moving it, I wasn't moving it. So we knew. Mm-hmm. But I know you can doubt yourself. But I know that difference of when it's just sitting there and when it starts to kind of pull. So, I have no doubt that it's my angel's coming through. And yeah. I only had, and no the thing doubt. I really want to touch on, and the reason I really don't talk about it too much, is because immediately people say, Ouija board, you're using the Ouija board, that's evil. What are you going to do if a demon comes through? Or the minute they talk about it, it goes to the negative, to the evil, to the bad. I'm not even thinking about that. It's why, so everything in my life and my space is prayer, meditation, bringing in Archangel Michael, the white light of Christ. Everything's very high vibration and positive, and that's the only experiences I've had.
Yeah, you and I spent a bunch of time talking about that recently over Skype, about how that's been your experience with it too. You didn't have any fears or trepidations or hesitations, and you do a lot of personal development work, and that's key. Contemplation, reflection, meditation, working on yourself. Then you come to know your center and your strength and your abilities, and then there is nothing that's going to knock you or rock you on the other side. If anything ever does happen, you just put your board away. I just take my little board. Here's one of my boards, and I put it back in the box.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
Here's another one I brought today. It's called the Swami board. It's a pretty old board too. It's not by a Ouija company. It's by a company called Giftcraft. 666 Lake Shore Drive, Chicago, Illinois. Just enough to scare you. But I joke about it because Ouija boards don't scare me, and I know they don't scare you. So you and I we're poking us a little bit with your witch's hat and me telling you 666, because to me it has nothing to do with the board. The board's neutral, and by the way,
a piece of cardboard,
wood. This one here, this one's masonite. The one back here, if you can see that one, circa 1920s, 30s. That's a real William Fold board. That one's wood. I mean, they're all different, but even like I have one I showed you the other day, which is like plastic. I met a man at WouijaCon who had a glass one. They could be made out of so many different things, but the key is they're neutral. People, they're
Well,
neutral.
what I told
There's
you was
no energy.
I was at a friend's house once, and I didn't have my board, and she wanted a reading, and I just took a piece of paper, wrote the alphabet on there, yes, no, and took a little whatever, used something as a planchette, a little piece of wood, and it works. So
You mean you didn't open a portal to hell by doing that? By paper? I mean, that's the demon's coven. That's what the demon is layers is. That's why I laugh about this, because we're being funny about it, but it's true. It's neutral. It's just a neutral thing. It's you who makes everything happen. It's your energy and your intent, period. And that's what you end up attracting, either from within you or from without you. The energy meets
wouldn't
each
you
other.
say it's a form of automatic writing? It's just moving to the
Absolutely.
letters. So automatic writing, people have been using tools of divination for hundreds and thousands of years.
Thousands of years,
And
absolutely.
it's exciting. I have to say, when I was with Julie on the board, and I said, "Who is this?" and it spelled out angel. It was the most exciting thing that ever happened to me in my life. It's been such a great relationship. I know I have two angels that come in. I have a friend's dad who comes in who wants me to give messages to him. I've had my dad, my brother. I've had higher guides if I meditate and say I want a guide from the seventh dimension or ninth dimension. They will come in.
That's
But you
right.
always do the protection. I have the protection prayer. I close it out. You have to be polite. You don't say, "Hey, come on in." You thank them. You always say goodbye at the end. Thank you very much, just like you would with anyone. They have feelings. They don't want to just be tossed aside.
Yeah, they want respect, and that's how you get to know somebody over time, and respect, and that begins to build trust. And it's not just one way; it's a two-way street. In fact, when I thank them a lot for the session we've had, they always turn around and thank me back.
Yeah.
They said, "We are learning so much about you and your growth through these conversations, these communications." Because I too speak with a lot of ethereal beings who have never been incarnated in a physical form. They don't know this density, and they're learning about it from us, from our interaction. And they're the ones that really struggle with slowing down to our vibration spelling. Yet over the years, all these years we've been doing it, it's like now it's a lot easier now. It's become an easy form for us. But yeah, this is a very natural thing to do. And just the fact that we use a Ouija board doesn't make it bad. Or you could do it with automatic writing. You could do it in your dreams. In fact, I get a lot of dreams with my guides, or just journaling or meditation. This is just another tool.
The name Ouija board, because I never bought a real Ouija. I mean, it's all they're either called spirit boards, communication boards, talking boards, and then Ouija board. They had that name at the turn of the century. William Fold, I think and then sold it to Parker Brothers. So it's really like Kleenex, or it's a brand name. And I think it got the bad connotation from The Exorcist or something like this. So really, not till the 70s was it demonized. Right? And
yeah, there's been a long history. There's been a history where people have attributed and blamed the Ouija board for their issues in their life. And today, it's no different than it is today. And I know people do that because it's harder to look at yourself and to look at your own stuff within. I write a lot about that because I've taken the Ouija to another level now. In my third book, The Spirit of Alchemy, Secret Teachings of the Sacred Reunion, because I go into the fact that your energy is really what this is about. It's who you are within, and who you are within is what you're going to get without. Like, again, as I said before, in life, in your personal interactions, with your friends, your family, your lovers, and also with anything on another dimension. So we really have to check our own behaviors, feelings, thoughts, intentions, and that's going to give us what we're going to end up getting on the board. What kind of communication do you want to have? And if you want to have positive, uplifting, nothing that's supportive and is for your truer self and your heart-centeredness, then you really want to work on yourself, check your feelings and emotions, and never do the board if you're imbibing on weird substances that alter yourself incredibly. And, I mean, if you have maybe some coffee, that's okay, but I'm saying, like, if you're overdosing on something, I wouldn't even do any kind of liquid spirits.
If I'm drinking,
I don't recommend that at all, smoking or any of that stuff, because it just changes your vibration, your integrity. And what I've learned doing a lot of light work over the years, especially with regression work with past life as a therapist, I've learned that our body almost looks like our aura. Let me call it the aura again, our electromagnetic frequency around us. It looks almost like Swiss cheese at times. There's holes. And as we imbibe in substances or we're sick, those holes widen, and it's easier for energies we don't want to come and enter. So this is where you get like attachments of energies or weird feelings, or people say spells, stuff like that. So you really got to watch your integrity of your system.
Or that's tricksters can come in. Yes, there are lower energies and there are higher energies. Just like in real life, you won't just let somebody knocks on your door, you're going to look through the peephole. Who is it? You don't just invite anybody into your home. And the same with when you're working on the board and spirits and angels and other entities. You want to say, who is this? Thank you, welcome. And one time I had one said it was a guide from another higher dimension, and she said something kind of, her name was Alexis, she said something kind of rude, and then I said, okay, that's it. And then I brought my angel on, my guardian angel. I said, what was going on with that? And she says, I told her to go away. Yeah, she says, no, I'm protecting you. And she says, I'm always protecting. I said, don't worry. Because at first I would say, oh, are you an evil? And my angel said, Marla, don't worry, I'm protecting you. And
exactly.
And I've only had loving, supportive messages. And if I'm upset, if I have a fight with my husband or whatever, I have a bad client, I go on, then they say, Marla, we're here for you. We love you. You are angel loved. So many angels are around you. And then mine is so cute because she'll say XOXO angel kisses at the end, really.
Yeah, they'll use shortcuts, and they even use text words like LOL. I've had things like that, and they do abbreviations for my names, and if I'm down, they might say hugs, really cute stuff like that.
I have UR for instead of YOUARE, UR. They'll use that. Yeah.
They use shortcuts as that you start to learn. I think, Marla, you hit on a really key point. When people first start out with the board, there's a few things, but one of the key things is always to find out who your angel, your guide, or guardian is, because that is, after time, that's going to be your one that helps you. I call them my bouncer, my protector, my moderator, the mistress of ceremony, the master of ceremony. They're the ones that are going to be there to keep that space, that openness, really clean and safe for you. Because, when people die, that personality they have when they die, right when they die, is the same personality they had when they were alive.
Right.
So if you get somebody that's stuck and earthbound and they're nasty, they're not going to be any better off than they were when they were alive. So those are the tricksters. And not that that's evil and bad. It's just, negative, bad behavior. And I don't really want to be around that. So I don't think you do either. Most people don't when they use the board. You write to me and you say the reason why you want to do this is because you want to get messages from loved ones. You want to meet your angels and guides. You want to know more about the afterlife or past lives.
I found out about my past lives. Details, cool? Name, where, how I died, who, did I have a girlfriend. I got a whole thing about one of my past lives.
That's a great way to start. It's a great stepping off point. Usually we start with talking with deceased people or people that are roaming around, which are usually earthbound. So, that's where you want to meet your guide and angel right away. Build them up as one of your guardians and helpers. And listen, by the way, they're standing in the wings waiting for us to invite them in. Everybody has angels, guides, guardians, and you have several, if not more. And they're waiting, and they won't just come in unless you invite them. So this is a great tool to use to say, I ask for the highest good for myself, and invite those guardians and guides and angels who respect me, who love me, who want the best for me. Please come forth and show yourself. Start there. And then start exploring like past lives and maybe deceased loved ones and your animals you can communicate with. And then I would say go into other sentient beings such as animals that are alive. Mm-hmm. I've heard of people even talking to their plants. I haven't quite got there yet.
I haven't done that yet. I got that idea from you, and I'm going to try to. I'm going to work on that one. There's so much fun things to do, and I know people are still after probably they see this interview, they'll still be saying no, but this God wouldn't. I think someone left a comment once. God wouldn't let the angels come. These are really demons talking to you in disguise of angels, but there's just no way. It's been a year. They're just loving, wonderful messages. Why would a demon come through and just say, Marla, you're awesome?
Well, exactly. And why would a demon come through and then when you say goodbye, then it says goodbye back? They wouldn't. They'd say, they would say explicitives. They would say negative things to you. They wouldn't be nice. So we really have to look at that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, throughout the ages and eons, and especially back when it was more matriarchal society, that we were really in tune with the unseen forces. It was not a negative, scary thing. People went into shamanic trance journeying. They did rituals, and they invited their ancestral spirits to take part in their feast and to live with them and to walk with them. They honored them. There was nothing to be feared. And then we have religions, all these different religions that have happened and popped up over the years. And Christianity is relatively new, everybody. It's, just a little over 2,000 years old. Some of these religions I'm talking about go 25, 40,000 and further years back. And there was no fear associated. But what I don't get when somebody says, well, you're talking to spirits and they can't be real and they're false. Well, how do you think we got religion? That came from spirits.
And if you believe in God in the Bible, the angels, there's how many times do they talk about angels? And the angels came down and spoken to people. And why, why would it just be those people that were so special? They are here for all of us. We each have an angel. It's not just the characters in the Bible that they came to them. It's they come to all of us. But we have to ask. Our angels won't. The only time our angels will help us without asking is if we're have a car wreck or we're in mortal danger. Otherwise, I ask my angel sometimes, hey, help me with my matchmaking. I'm having some difficult clients. I need some help today. And by gosh, that one day I asked, hey, Mirth, work on this with me. I got all my matches done that day. It was just awesome. It's like you have a support team. It's fantastic. And there is more to this world than the 3D that you see. And a lot of people are just can't accept that if I can't see it, it's not there. There's so much going on around us right now and the veil is very thin.
Yeah, the veil is very thin. And what's happening, too, right now, and it really has been kicking in for about 20, 25 years. This is around 1987 it's been kicking in. And what's happening is we're shifting into an awakening and awareness. And people are starting to feel this. And things are shifting. So systems and institutions and what we're used to, our boxes are breaking down. And a lot of people, we're fighting it because we don't like change. But there's a reason for this change. And I know it's uncomfortable at times. But to know that there's a reason for these shifts. And it's so we evolve and wake up to all the unseen forces that are here to help us, to know that we're a part of this larger picture and that we're all interconnected, and we are divine essences, number one. We're divine essences, and remember who we are. We have a right to be co-creators in our world with the source. And if you want to call that God, you want to call that Allah, you want to call that the universe, spirit, I call it source. We are all part of this source. And when we wake up to that, then we start to realize life is full of so many more possibilities, as you were saying, Marla, than we can even imagine or fathom. And it makes our life that much more sweeter, just that much more. It does.
Life sparkles. Every day I go on my board, I talk to my angels, just a few minutes. It's not like it's an obsession. Sometimes I'll skip a day, but usually I want to go on there and check in. And is there anything you need me to know today? Or it's just a loving message, or maybe they'll give me some advice. And it's just fantastic. It really, it's put a whole new, kicked my life up a notch.
Yeah.
Kick it up.
Does. It's great. Yeah, it does, because you go, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And a lot of times life, is hard, and we do feel alone, although we might have family and friends. And some people don't feel like they even have a family anymore. There's been tough stuff gone on in their life. You're not alone. And if you're afraid of the board, don't use it. It's not your tool.
Right. That's my tool. That's good point. I have a friend who does cards reading. She's been doing it for years. She's amazing at it. She's also a healer, and she looks at me when I do the board. She says, Marla, that's your tool. Because I said, I don't hear, I'm developing things I don't hear yet. I'm not, the third eye I'm trying to open. She goes, Marla, that's your tool.
Yeah.
So I said, that's my tool. Hey, okay, that's cool. That's my tool.
And see, we were afraid to claim it for many years. And I got to tell you, I had to hide all this tool I was using until just 2.5 years ago, because it was it has a stigma about it, as you know, from years gone by, especially it was 1973, December 26th, when The Exorcist came out. And since then, Hollywood's ran with it. And they did a really good job of following that marketing ploy of how well Parker Brothers did with it and how William Fuld did with it all those years before.
Right.
So, it has a stigma. And so I kept it under wraps, and not because I didn't use it. I used it, but because I knew that I'd be judged. And when I finally let go of that I was going to be judged, I said, I'm at a place and a point where I'm not going to worry about it anymore. So now I'm just kind of like national, international with it. And here's Marla coming out too with it now. And And I keep collecting all these wonderful people who do the board, and I'm introducing them all, and we're creating our own little network, of this caliber of board use.
And look at everybody. Look at Karen. It's been doing it 40 years. She's beautiful and articulate. She hasn't been taken over by a demon.
No. Nothing to think of.
We still seem pretty normal, I think. Actually everything's going really good. I have to say, they help. I mean, my business is fantastic. I'm happy, healthy. And so are you. I mean, I think it would be the opposite. It elevates us, and helps us. So.
I'm better for the use of my tool, and I'm better for the use of meeting all my guides. And they've helped fulfill me in many ways by helping me find myself within. It's not that they do and change anything for me. It's that they help remind me to know that I'm loved, to help remind me that I have a greatness within, and to start expressing that. And they've always helped me throughout the years. And all these books here, I mean, were written, as you know, Marla, with the help of my spirit friends. I don't think I would have written any of these or had the courage to come out, especially this one was written in 96, 97 when I was practicing as a therapist. And back then, it was a little edgy, but now it fits in just perfect with where we are in today's time. And I published it in 2012, but it's like they've given me some really profound information. In this book, it's still kicking my butt. It's my teacher. There's so much stuff in there. When I look at it, read it again, I'm going, when did I write that? It's because we work so well together. And it's like I have this, extra strength that I find and use this tool. And a real cool thing, Marla, and you probably are noticing this too in your use, and it starts to happen right away, and then it just grows from there, is that you're intuitive, you're empathic, your psychic abilities will develop and develop and develop into incredible abilities to feel and sense and know stuff and make better decisions for yourself because of those reasons, and to know how not to have a knee-jerk reaction. It really becomes transforming. Now, having said that, we don't have to do that with the Ouija board, although that's been our tools. You definitely can do it with meditation, contemplation, reflection, dream work, regression work, altered states, yoga, all kinds of mindfulness activities can help you do it too.
Working with crystals, I do crystal healing, which is wonderful. And there's a lot of channeling going on. More and more people are channeling. And I know that Jane Roberts, who channeled Seth, which is one of the most famous and important works of our time, and it channeled information. She's passed away now, but she met Seth on the Ouija board. And then they moved into a channeling relationship and wrote many books, and people can look that up, the Seth books.
Another great one to look up is Betty White, and not the actress Betty White.
Betty White!
Yeah, Betty White. It's the medium Betty White from the early 1900s, and her husband was Stuart White, who was an incredible journeyer or entrepreneur in the early 1900s, and they pretty much helped start Santa Barbara in many regards. But she learned a Ouija board at a dinner party and started using it. The board actually called her over through the conversation and said, put her on the board. She immediately took to it, used the board for a few more months, and then started automatic writing. And she wrote incredible volumes of work too. The Unobstructed Universe is one, the Betty White book. You could go online and look this up too. I highly recommend reading this because now, this is like 1919, she started doing this. So there's some people that have been doing it, using the board as a starting place, or they continue to do it kind of like I do, just to evolve themselves spiritually and understand more about the world that is unseen, and knowing that even though we can't see those other dimensions, we're still very connected to it. Absolutely. And things still happen. So I don't know about you, but I kind of like to explore. I
do. It's really, it fascinates me to delve into what's going on in the universe. We're discovering more and more planets. We're discovering, the black holes, and there's so much that we don't know and that's out there. And I just find it fascinating to study about this stuff.
Well, and the board too takes you into consciousness, and we do not know enough about how our consciousness and mind works. And I'm not talking about the brain, although we still don't know much about our brain either, because we think we only use 5 to 8% of it. The truth is there's so much more to all of our apparatus, physical and our unseen apparatus, such as the energetic field around our body. And our consciousness is part of that, so is our mind. We try to think our mind is in our brain, but our mind is really another aura about ourselves. and how we process information. And we don't understand enough. So through the board, I've been able to explore so many different levels of consciousness that have just blown my mind open and removed any walls and boxes. And it's like, I'm just going out there as far as I can. And you know, I'm safe about it. I'm like you. I'm not obsessed with it. But I will tell you what, I love to talk about it, explore it. I'm very passionate about it. And of course, I love to write about it because these are things that open you up to really who you are, and who you think you are as just this physical being is really just a tip of the iceberg. And it's a shame we don't know more about ourselves, because if we did, we really would understand more how to create such incredible lives for ourselves. I think we're just touching on the surface how to do this, and there's so much more to be explored. So I always suggest people, if they use this tool, you know, to contact me. Let's talk about it. I love hearing people's stories and so making suggestions and stuff. Well, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel, but there's so much more we can jump off from and keep exploring. I mean, there's a lot that has not been explored with this tool yet.
Absolutely. And now I like to just use it alone, because if I try it with my friend Julian, for instance, it doesn't really move that great anymore. It's I guess because the information's for me. Even when we did it, we would do it in my house. We never did it at hers. She'd always come over here. And it was always, the messages were for me. There was nothing for her. And I guess it was my people were coming through. And now that I am able to do it on my own, it's like, I don't want anybody slowing me down. Because it's flying around. I've written poems with, poets, and I write things. I've got books. So, yeah, it's exciting. And I encourage anybody who's interested, you can contact either of us. If you want to tell us, it's evil, just don't bother. Don't email me. Don't call me. So you
won't convince me either. Again, 42 years.
We are only working with the higher realms, high vibration, angelic forces. So that's
absolutely
all. That's all we work with. That's all we're interested in. So, thank you, Karen, so much for sharing your story. And
so welcome.
Oh, this was so exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. Yay!